Good morning, guys. Live will start in 5 minutes. Today's topic is loops in Python. Today's topic is loops in Python. Within 2 minutes, I'll start the class, guys. Okay, guys, let's start the class. Okay, loops in Python. There are two types of loops in Python. We usually use for iterating the sequences like strings, uh, lists, tuples, sets, arrays, and data frames. Okay, let's let's see how for loop will work. A for loop is used for iterating over a sequence. It is either a list, a tuple, a dictionary, a set, or a string. These are all a list, tuple, dictionary, set, string. These all are with having its sequences, having the data types, different types of data types. We can create these lists or tuples, dictionaries with different types of data type values. We can use this for loop for iterating numerous number of times. So let's see the syntax of the for loop. How we usually write. Yeah. In other programming languages, we usually write for I is equals to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. Let's take in C language we write for loop in this way, but we no need to write like a mathematical calculation in Python. We can just write for I in, let's take a list name called n, for I in n. We need to keep a column here. This is the syntax. I is a variable that will take for each iteration, that will take the value, one value from each iteration, from the variable or from the list, from it may be a list or dictionary or tuple or a string. So this is the syntax of the for loop. So okay, let's see some examples regarding for loop. I told you about list. I will tell you in detail in later classes. A list can be declared by using the square braces. We can store different types of different data types values in a list. So this is a list called fruits. So we have stored an apple, banana, cherry, strings in the variable, strings in the list. So we want to iterate for x in fruits. X is a variable that will take one value from the list at one iteration. Second iteration, banana will be taken as x. In third iteration, cherry will be taken and stored in the value x. It will print the for loop. It will print three. It will iterate. For loop will iterate 3 times here. So let's execute and see how the output will come. See here we got the 3 strings here. 3 strings as output in different lines. Okay, this is the example. So here we used a list. Then without using a list, why can't we keep a string here? Without using a list, why can't we keep a string here? Let's see an example of it. Here we are iterating through strings. I told you a string is a sequence. I had told you in before classes, a string is a sequence of letters. A string is a sequence of letters or alphabets. It may be numbers. So here we are looping, here iterating the string. So here we are printing the value of x. For each iteration, the x will take one letter, one alphabet as x, and it will print and it will print here. So let's see how it will work. Have you seen this? Banana. Here we have printed banana. This is a string. Here we looped using a string. In the before example, we looped, we iterated, we used the for loop to print the elements. We print the elements that we have stored in a list. Okay. Okay, guys. Now I'll tell you about break statement. Break statement. What is a break statement? Why we need to use it? With the break statement, we can stop the loop before it has looped through all the items. Um, we wants to loop a number of times. We wants to use the for loop. We wants to iterate the elements. We wants to iterate the for loop for 10 times. We can stop the loop by using the break statement. We can stop the loop whenever we want by using if statement. If we wants to break the loop at a particular string, so we can break the loop without iterating, without looping until the 10th iteration. So in the process we use the break statement. Let's see an example. Here is the example. Here we have stored some elements in a list, the names of the fruits in the list fruits. Here we are iterating the list. Here I want to print x. If x equals to banana. If the variable x has the string banana, it will break the loop. It won't execute the remaining iterations. It won't repeat the remaining iterations. So I'm keeping a comment lines for this program. This is two programs. There are two programs here. I will explain you. These are comment lines. By using a comment lines, uh, we are telling that we are telling to the interpreter that don't execute these lines. We usually use the comment lines for for explaining the purpose of the particular line in a program. This is a small program. In industry, we need to write a program with 1,000 lines, 10,000 lines, lots of sequence of lines of code we have to write. So it's very difficult to remember the purpose of every line that we have written. So we need to write comment lines. By using the comment lines, when we refer the code, we can easily understand what the purpose of the line we have written. So this is the purpose of the comment lines. This is a single line command. We can use a multiple line comments also. I'll tell you later. Let's first execute the program. Okay, we got the output as apple and banana. Why? Because we haven't got the output cherry. Why? Here we have break the loop without iterating. After printing of the string banana. Here we have printed apple and banana. After that we got x equals to banana. In the variable x we have stored x equals to equal x. We have stored banana. So banana here it is the comparison operator. Both the strings are equal. So the loop has break. The loop has break. So the cursor will automatically comes out. So this is the example. So let's execute this program. Keeping this in command lines. I'm executing it. Oh, there is an indentation problem here. So if we haven't kept anything under indentation, it will throw an error. So it's very important to keep the lines in indentation. I'm executing it, showing nothing as output. Why? I have kept this in if x equals to banana, the in if condition. So it hasn't printed anything. It hasn't printed nothing. If I keep this in under if loop, if condition. So let's see how what it will print. I'm saving it, and so it has printed apple. I think you understood. In the previous example, I have kept this in if condition. Now I have kept this in for loop. So okay, that's why in the before example it hasn't printed anything. By keeping it in for loop, it has printed the string apple. Okay, let's see about the continue statement. In the previous example, we have seen about the break statement. If we want to skip the iteration, the present iteration, we can use the continue statement. The remaining iterations will be done by using it will skip the present if the if statement has satisfied, the present statement only will be skipped, and the the next iterations will be carried on. Let's see an example of it. This is the continue statement example. Here we have stored the elements in a list called fruits. I'm iterating it by using for loop, and if x equals to banana, it will continue the iteration. So the print statement will not be. Let's see what will happen. Here I'm printing just apple and cherry. Banana is not is it hasn't printed here. Why? Because here we use the continue statement. If we use the continue statement, it will stops the loop. It will stops the iterating of the loop, and it will the cursor will move again to the starting of the for loop, and so that's why banana has skipped here. Banana has skipped here. Let's see about range function. I've told you about range function. The loop through a set of code, a specified number of to loop through a set of code, a specified number of times. We can use the range function. Why we need to use the range function is, if we want to repeat the loop, if we want to repeat the for loop for a specified number of times, 10 times, 20 times, 100 times, or even 1 or 2 3 times, 1 or 2 3 times, we can use the range function. So let's see an example. Here I'm iterating by using range function. Defaultly, the range function will start from 0 to the n minus 1. This is, if we take this as n, it will iterate 6 times, and it will print up to x only. Okay, the default starting value of the range is 0. Range function is 0. Okay, let's execute it. So here it is printing 0 1 2 3 4 5. Here we have got 6 values. The loop has repeated 6 times, 0 to n minus 1 times. So we can, here I have kept another program in command lines. So let's see this one. Here if we want to skip few steps, if we want to skip few steps between those range, if let's consider 1 to 10, if we want to skip two steps in between those, 1 to 10. It will print 1 first. Firstly, it will print the value 1. It will skip the 2 steps. 1 to 1, 2, that is one step. 2 to 3, that is second step. It will print the value 3. Again, it will skip the 2 steps. From 3 to 4, 4 to 5, it will print the value 6. Sorry, 2, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, it will print the value 5. uh, 5 to 6, 6 to 7, it will print the value, the next value, the first value after skipping the 2 steps. It will print the first value after the skipping the 2 steps. In the same way, here I am giving the range from 2 to 30. Here this value is to skip. If we the number of steps that I want to skip here, this is the value that the number of steps I want to skip. So it will skip 3 steps and will print the values. Okay, let's execute it and see. Here, if you see in here, 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5. 3 steps has skipped and the value 5 has printed. 5 to 6, 6 to 7, 78. 3 steps has skipped and the value after skipping the 3 steps, the first value is 8. It has printed 8. In the same way, up to 30, the values has printed here. Okay. uh, in if statement we have used else statement. In for loop, for loop also we can use else statement. Let's see how we can use it. Else in for loop, the else keyword in a for loop specifies a block of code to be executed when the loop is finished. If we want, else statement will be executed for if we, when we execute, when we use it for if loop, if condition. If the if statement hasn't executed, the else statement will be executed. But in when we use the else statement for loop, the else statement will be executed after the for loop has executed. The looping of the for loop, after the looping of the for loop has done. This is the example of it. Here it will iterate. Here the for loop will iterate and prints 0 to 5 values and will print finally finished. Here this is the use of the else statement. It will print the end of the statement, of the program. I'm executing it. See here, it has executed and printed 0 to 5 and has printed the and has executed the else condition, else statement. Finally finished. To check the program, we will check the both source code and the program here. Okay. Now nested loops. Yesterday I told about nested if condition. If we use the if we use if inside another if, that is called nested if. In the same way, if we use a loop inside another loop, it is called a nested loops. Let's see how the nested loops will execute. This is an example for nested loops. Here I'm adj as a list. I have stored these 3 elements these three strings in the list adj. In the fruits list, I have stored these fruits names. These are strings. I want to execute. I want to print those in those values by using a nested loop. How the nested loop will work? For every single iteration, the nested loop will executed once. Will be executed once. Here there are three values. If for every one iteration, it will iterate three times. My execution is equals to, here we have stored three values, so it will be iterate three times. It will execute once. So if second time, if the outer loops, if the outer loops execution is a second iteration, executes a second time, it will iterate again three times. For third time, it will iterate again three times. So let's see the output, then you can understand easily. So see here, we got output as has stored these values, right? Big tasty, apple, banana, cherry. So we got the output: red apple, red banana, red cherry, big apple, big banana, big cherry, tasty apple, tasty banana, tasty cherry. Why we got these? We have just a six strings, but we got nine output, nine nine lines of output. Why? Because using the nested loops. Using the nested loops, because of iterating it, the inner loop, the nested loop has iterated three times for every single iteration of the outer loop. So we got this output like this. So let's see, if we wants to, if we don't want, just wants to declare a loop, we don't want to use the loop at present. In Python doesn't allow us to create a loop without having any code inside a loop. It doesn't allow a single for loop statement. So we need to write something inside a loop. Rather, it doesn't allow to write a loop. By using a pass statement, we can write a print statement. We just wants to write a for loop, but we don't want to use it. So by keeping the pass statement in the for loop, there's nothing will be problematic for us. It won't show error. If we haven't keep a pass statement inside a for loop, when we don't want to use the for loop, it will throw an error. Instead of keeping, if we won't keep a pass statement, so if we wants to just write a for loop, we don't want to write any code inside a for loop. So let's execute it. What will be done? So it is showing an error. So Python doesn't allow us to write just a for loop statement. So we need to write something inside something code inside the for loop. So if we wants to write the for loop just for future references, future use. So by keeping a pass statement, it won't show any type of errors. So that's it. It doesn't throw any error here. So this is the use of the pass statement. So let's see about while loop. While loop is same like as if condition, but if condition won't iterate the source code inside it, but while is used to iterate the source code inside it until the condition has been satisfied. It will execute a number of times, a number of times. If the whenever the condition we have written in the while loop has not satisfied, it will stop executing. It will stop executing the code inside the while loop. So let's see an example. It is the while loop. The syntax of the while loop is uh, see here. This is a condition. In same like other programming languages. In other programming languages, we usually keep a braces here. We don't need to usually keep braces here. We don't need to keep any type of braces in Python. So while here is the condition, we need to use the colon. What happens if we won't use a colon here? Let's see. I will execute it. It's simply throwing an error, syntax error. So must and should need to keep a colon after the condition. I'm executing it. Here we have written. It will. Okay. First of all, I will execute it. So it has printed 1 to 5 values. Here it will check. Here we have assigned 1 to variable I. Value 1 to variable I. I is 1 is less than 5. It will print the value 1. Then the value has incremented to 1 to the value has incremented to 2. Here 2 is less than 6. It will print the value 2. It will repeat the loop. It will repeat the iteration. Then after printing the value 2, it has incremented to value 3. 3 less than 6. It will again increment 4. 4 less than 6. It will again increment and repeat the loop. 5 less than 6. It will again increment and repeat the loop. 6 less than 6. 6 less than 6 is not correct. So it won't execute. It won't execute the loop, and the cursor will come out. This is what the while loop is. In the same as we have used break statement, continue, else for loop. We can use the things for while loop also. Use the statements for while loop also. I will explain you. I want to explain you two of the programs, simple programs. This is a program to print space of the numbers. Here I have stored a few numbers 1, 2, 4, 6, 11 and 20 integers. Few integers in a list called numbers. Here I have assigned value 0 to sq variable. Here it is a for loop. It will iterate the it will iterate until the last number of the until the last integer of the list until the last integer of the list. So here I want to calculate the square value of each element. Okay, these are comment lines. I told you these are comment lines. In the same way, we use the comment lines to know the purpose of the each line in the program. Okay, let's execute it and see the output. So 1 square is 1, 2 square is 4, 4 square is 16, for value in number. For value, here the value for each iteration we are storing a single value in a value variable VAL variable. Square equals to it. Here it is computing by using a multiplication asterisk symbol. This is an asterisk symbol. Asterisk symbol is used to do multiplication. Square equals to SQ equals to value star value. And here I am printing the value star value. After computing the value by using the asterisk symbol multiplication, by doing multiplication, the value will be stored in the variable SQ, and I am printing here again. The iteration, the loop will repeat it again. In the value variable, it will take, the for loop will take the second element in the list numbers, and it will repeat the loop again and again until the last element of the list, and it will print the values. Okay, this is a simple example of for loop. There is an this is another example. If you wants to print a number of natural numbers, let's take 1 to 10. I wants to compute the sum of the numbers from 1 to 10. This is a simple example to print the 1 to n number of numbers, to calculate the sum of the natural numbers up to the number n. So here I have written sum equals to 0. I have assigned value 0 to the variable sum. N equals to int of, input of. In Python, everything will be taken as a string through the input of function. So I need to convert those by using int of function. The string will be converted as an integer by using the int of function. So n is equals to int of input of enter a number. Okay, here I have written a for loop. As I said to you, by default the for loop will start, the range of function will start from 0. Here I am giving the starting value of it from 1 to n values, and to 1 to n values means it will iterate the loop from 1 to n minus 1 n minus 1 times. It will iterate the loop 1 to n minus 1 times. So here sum equals to sum plus value. Here sum I have taken sum equals to here I have taken sum equals to 0. At first the sum value will be taken as 0, and the value that I am giving through the range function at each iteration will be added here. Sum equals to sum 0 plus 1 here. After that sum equals to 0 plus 1. It will be equals to 1. When the loop is iterating again, sum equals to, the value of sum will be updated from 0 to 1. So the sum value will be 1 here, and after iterating it, if we take the n value 10, after iterating, by iterating it, the value of the variable val will be 2, that equals to 3. Then again I am computing then the for loop is iterating again. So the variable, the value in the variable sum will be updated to 3. Here I am talking about this statement is it will be 3. So 3 plus, so 3 plus 4. So 3 plus 3 equals to 6. So again sum equals to, the value in the variable sum will be updated to 6. 6 plus 4 equals to 10. In the same way, up to n natural numbers, the loop will be repeated and compute the value of the sum of those natural numbers. Let's execute it. By using the print statement, I'm printing the value, the last value after updating the sum value. Okay. Here I am printing the value of n. Here I have stored n equals to int of input of the integer that we are giving here. I am giving 10. The integer that we are giving here will be stored in the variable n. After that, the loop will be repeated and it will give us the output. So it's giving us the output as 5. I can execute, if I want to execute it again. I can give the value 100 also. I want to know the sum of the values, the sum of the natural numbers until 100, up to 100. I'm giving the value 100. Okay, it is giving 4950 is the sum of the natural numbers up to 100. Okay guys, this is the class. This is for today's class. So from tomorrow onwards, I will explain you about lists, tuples. Tomorrow I will explain you the entire in detail about lists. What is a list? What type of operations we can do? How we can use the list? Everything will be I will clarify you tomorrow. So this is for today. I think you understood well. Okay. Okay guys.